The message came on a Tuesday. Dr. Alan Moore sat alone in the control room of the Deep Space Listening Array in New Mexico, sipping cold coffee as the monitors hummed. His eyes were tired from staring at screens for 12 hours straight. Then it happened. A pattern appeared that was unlike anything he had ever seen before. "This can't be right," he muttered, adjusting his glasses. The signal repeated exactly the same way 3 times. No natural phenomenon did that. Alan's hand shook as he ran the confirmation protocols. After 20 minutes, he picked up the phone. "Sir, I need you to come to the station right now." "Yes, I know what time it is. Trust me, this is worth it." Within 3 days, the message had been partially decoded. Within a week, NASA Administrator Diane Powell stood before the President and a room full of grim-faced officials. "The signal is artificial and directed specifically at Earth," Diane explained. "It contains an invitation for humanity to join something called the Galactic Council, a federation of 24 spacefaring civilizations. An invitation. Like we're being asked to join some kind of space club." The Secretary of Defense looked skeptical. "More like the United Nations, but on a galactic scale," Diane replied. "According to the message, they've been watching us for centuries. They believe we've reached the necessary technological and social development to be integrated into their community." The room fell silent. "And they're coming here?" the President asked. "Yes, their representatives plan to arrive in 6 months. They expect our provisional acceptance by then." The news spread quickly. At first, people celebrated in the streets. Humanity was not alone. Then the questions began. Why now? What did these aliens really want? Jack Miller sat across from Diane in her office at NASA headquarters. He had been pulled from his work at the State Department, where he specialized in difficult diplomatic situations. "You want me to help craft our response to aliens?" Jack asked. "Yes, along with Dr. Lisa Franklin, our top linguist. The implications of our reply could affect the entire human race." Jack nodded slowly. "I understand. But shouldn't we just say yes? This could advance our technology by centuries." Diane slid a folder across the desk. "Read this first." Inside were intelligence reports suggesting darker possibilities. 3 known star systems with developing civilizations had gone silent after Council contact in the past century. The pattern was always the same: contact, invitation, then silence. "We don't know what happened to those who declined membership," Diane said quietly. Dr. Lisa Franklin joined them later that day. Her expertise in communication theory had made her essential to understanding the alien message. "There are subtle elements in their language that concern me," Lisa explained, pointing to her analysis. "Certain phrases that, when properly translated, carry implications of superiority and expectation rather than equality and choice." Over the next weeks, the United Earth Response Initiative formed with representatives from every major nation. Colonel Ryan Blackwood from the Space Force argued for caution. "We need to prepare for the worst while hoping for the best," he insisted during a closed-door meeting. "If their intentions are peaceful, no harm done. If not..." The world changed in those 6 months. Old enemies found common ground in the face of possible threats from beyond. Scientists worked around the clock to understand the technology hints embedded in the alien transmission. Military forces quietly prepared contingency plans. Dr. Olivia Reeves led the science division that began reverse engineering concepts from the transmission data. "They'd given us just enough to understand their basic technology, but not enough to match it," she reported. As the deadline approached, humanity faced the biggest decision in its history: accept the invitation and hope for the best, or risk the consequences of saying no to beings who could travel between stars. In a secure bunker beneath Geneva, world leaders made their choice. They would appear cooperative while preparing for any possibility. As Captain Steve Harrington told his newly formed elite team, "We're going to smile, shake hands, and keep our weapons within reach." The day of arrival approached. Humanity held its breath. The next 6 months passed in a blur of activity. The United Earth Response Initiative, or UERI as everyone now called it, took over 3 entire floors of a nondescript office building in Geneva. Inside, people from every nation worked together with a single purpose: prepare humanity for what was coming. Colonel Ryan Blackwood paced the length of the conference room, his military boots making sharp sounds on the floor. The walls were covered with maps and charts. 8 people sat around the table, all looking tired. "I don't trust them," Ryan said plainly. "No advanced civilization crosses the stars just to make friends." Diane Powell nodded slowly. "I agree, but we need more than gut feelings. Dr. Franklin, what have you found?" Lisa Franklin stood and touched a screen on the wall. Strange symbols appeared, glowing blue against black. "I've been studying their language patterns more deeply," Lisa explained. "There are subtle threats hidden in the invitation. See this phrase here? It translates as welcome to the community, but the structure implies submit to the collective. And here, where they discuss resource sharing, the emphasis suggests taking rather than exchanging." Jack Miller leaned forward. "So they're not being honest about their intentions?" "It appears not," Lisa said. "Their language is carefully constructed to sound peaceful while preparing us psychologically for compliance." In another part of the building, Dr. Olivia Reeves and her team of scientists worked day and night. They had converted an old warehouse into a laboratory filled with experimental equipment. Sparks flew as Olivia adjusted a device that looked like a satellite dish connected to a computer. The transmission contained fragments of their technology, she explained to a visiting Jack Miller. "Not enough to give us everything, but enough for us to make some leaps forward. We've already improved our energy storage capacity by 300%. Will it be enough if they turn hostile?" Jack asked. Olivia didn't look up from her work. "Not yet, but we're getting there." At a military base in Nevada, Captain Steve Harrington put his team through another grueling training exercise. 20 men and women in black uniforms moved through a course designed to simulate alien technology based on what little they knew. "Faster," Steve shouted. "If these beings can travel between stars, they can outthink and outmove us. Our only advantage might be unpredictability." Meanwhile, in a small apartment filled with computer equipment, Ethan Cruz and Amanda Wright worked outside official channels. They had been recruited for their unique skills. They were the best hackers on the planet. "I found something," Amanda said one night, her face lit by screen glow. "Look at these satellite feeds from the past decade." Ethan moved to look over her shoulder. "What am I seeing?" "Patterns in our communications satellites. Something has been watching us, collecting data. And not just recently, for years." Ethan's face grew serious. "Can you trace where the data went?" Amanda typed rapidly. "I'm trying. But wherever it leads, one thing is clear: they know a lot more about us than we first thought." The information went straight to Diane Powell, who called an emergency meeting of UERI's leadership. "We need to decide our approach," she said to the assembled group. "Do we appear cooperative while secretly preparing defenses, or do we challenge them directly?" The debate lasted for hours. Some argue for honesty, others for deception. In the end, it was Jack Miller who found the middle ground. "We need to be smart about this," he said. "We show enough cooperation to keep communications open, but we hold back. We learn all we can about them. And most importantly, we never agree to anything without understanding every consequence." As the day of arrival approached, world leaders met in secret to agree on humanity's official position. The decision was classified at the highest level. Only 20 people on Earth knew what response would be given when the aliens arrived. Colonel Blackwood secured weapons around key locations globally. Captain Harrington's team stood ready. Dr. Reeves prepared experimental defensive technology, and Ethan and Amanda continued searching for vulnerabilities in the aliens' communications. When the Galactic Council's ship appeared in orbit, humanity was as ready as it could be. The alien ship named Harmonious Unity hung above Earth like a giant silver leaf, reflecting sunlight as it slowly orbited. News channels worldwide showed nothing else. People gathered in streets, looking up at the sky with a mixture of hope and fear. Landing permission requested at the United Nations Plaza. Came the message, translated through systems Dr. Franklin had designed. In the UERI command center, Diane Powell looked at the faces around her. This is it. Are we ready? Colonel Blackwood nodded. Defense systems are in place, but hidden. Captain Harrington's team is positioned throughout Geneva. If anything goes wrong, we can respond in seconds. Let's hope that won't be necessary, Jack Miller said, straightening his tie. As part of the official greeting party, he would be one of the first humans to meet the aliens face to face. Remember, Dr. Franklin reminded him, watch their body language. Their words may lie, but their movements might tell us more. The council delegation shuttle descended slowly, landing with barely a sound on the specially prepared area. Global leaders and diplomats stood in a semicircle, cameras capturing every moment for the billions watching. The ship's door opened with a soft hiss. 7 beings emerged, each different from the others. Some had multiple limbs, others moved in strange gliding motions. Their sizes varied from barely 4 feet tall to over 8 feet. The one in front had blue-gray skin and large, unblinking eyes. I am Chief Ambassador Zixlor of the Arcturian Dominion, speaking for the Galactic Council, it said in perfect English. We bring greetings from the 24 civilizations of our alliance. The Earth representatives stepped forward, led by the UN Secretary-General. On behalf of humanity, we welcome you to Earth. The ceremony proceeded smoothly, with speeches about cooperation and new beginnings. But Jack noticed how the aliens' eyes constantly scanned everything, as if assessing threats or resources. Later, in the Grand Meeting Hall, Ambassador Zixlor presented the formal membership terms. The document appeared on screens around the room, translated into all Earth languages. As you can see, Zixlor explained, membership brings many benefits. Access to advanced technology, protection from cosmic threats, and participation in galactic trade networks. Diane Powell studied the document carefully. And what are the obligations of member worlds? Zixlor's expression didn't change. Merely reasonable resource contributions and population management protocols. All civilizations must contribute to the greater good. Jack Miller noticed how quickly Zixlor moved past those sections. Could you explain what resource contributions means exactly? Details can be discussed after your formal acceptance, Zixlor said smoothly, which we require within 48 hours. Such a short time for such an important decision, the UN Secretary-General noted. The Council's schedule is precisely arranged, Zixlor replied. We have many duties across the galaxy. As the meeting ended, Dr. Franklin and Jack huddled over the document, examining every word. There are additional clauses hidden in the fine print, Lisa whispered. References to harvesting rights and biological assessment of compatible stock. I don't like the sound of that. Jack nodded grimly. We need to stall for time while we figure out what this really means. Outside the meeting, Colonel Blackwood received reports from military bases worldwide. All reported unusual electronic activity, as if something was scanning Earth's defenses. Mobilize everything, but keep it discreet, he ordered. I want all systems ready but invisible. That evening, a junior council aide approached Diane Powell in a quiet hallway. I shouldn't be talking to you, the small green-skinned being whispered, looking around nervously. But you need to know the truth about worlds that refuse membership. What happens to them? Diane asked. The aide's voice shook. They disappear, not just from the council, but from existence. My homeworld questioned the council's demands 3 cycles ago. Now it's a mining colony with my people as laborers. Few remember we were once free. Before Diane could ask more questions, the aide slipped away. She immediately called an emergency meeting with UERI leadership. We have 47 hours to decide the fate of our entire species, she told them. And I think we just confirmed our worst fears. Ethan Cruz hadn't slept in 36 hours. His apartment was dark except for the glow of computer screens. Empty coffee cups surrounded him. His fingers flew across the keyboard as he worked. "I'm in," he said into his headset. "Amanda, are you seeing this?" Miles away, Amanda Wright watched the same data flow across her screen. "My God, Ethan. There's so much here." They had managed to hack into the Harmonious Unity's database, using techniques that bordered on impossible. What they found horrified them. "Downloading everything now," Ethan said. "We need to get this to Powell immediately." The data revealed the Council's true history. Planets that declined membership weren't just colonized. They were harvested. Populations reduced to slave labor. Environments stripped of resources. Some worlds were simply mined until nothing remained but hollow shells. Earth had been selected for its abundant water, rare minerals, and what the Council called compatible biological stock, humans. At UERI headquarters, Diane Powell looked pale as she reviewed the findings. According to this, the Council has been depleting planets across the galaxy for thousands of years, she said to the emergency gathering. They move like locusts from one world to another. Colonel Blackwood slammed his fist on the table. "I knew it. This isn't an invitation. It's an invasion with paperwork." Dr. Olivia Reeves pointed to a specific section of data. "Look at this. Earth has something they particularly want. Several elements in our crust are extremely rare in the galaxy. They're desperate for them." Meanwhile, Dr. Lisa Franklin worked frantically to decode more transmissions intercepted from the Council ship. "I found something strange," she told Jack Miller. "The Council members themselves appear to be answering to someone else. There are references to the directors who never show themselves. So even the Council members are puppets?" Jack asked. "It seems so. And based on these communications, several Council species are nearly as unhappy as the conquered worlds." On the far side of the moon, Captain Steve Harrington led his team on a dangerous mission. Using stealth technology developed from Dr. Reeves' research, they approached what appeared to be an empty crater. "Movement ahead," whispered his second-in-command. "Definitely not human." The team moved silently forward and discovered a hidden Council outpost. Using special cameras, they documented everything inside. "They've been here for months," Steve reported back to Colonel Blackwood. "And sir, they've positioned weapons. Hundreds of them. All around Earth." Blackwood forwarded the images to Diane Powell. "These are mass extinction weapons. They could wipe out most life on the planet with the push of a button." Diane's face hardened. "So the 48-hour deadline isn't just for an answer. It's how long we have before they decide to use these weapons." Amanda Wright made another discovery in the hacked files. She found internal Council communications showing conflict between different alien factions. "Not all Council members agree with what's happening," she explained to the UERI leadership. "The Tellurians and Proxima species have argued against Earth's harvesting. They might be potential allies." "Can we contact them directly?" Diane asked. "Possibly," Amanda said, "but we have to be careful. If the dominant Council factions discover communication, they might speed up their timeline." Time was running out. Less than 24 hours remained before the Council expected Earth's answer. Leaders around the world waited for direction from UERI. Dr. Reeves rushed into Diane's office, her lab coat wrinkled from hours of nonstop work. "We've done it," she said, her eyes bright with exhaustion and excitement. "We've created a shield that might neutralize their weapons. It's based on technology hints we found in their own transmissions." "Will it work?" Diane asked. "In theory, but we haven't tested it against their actual weapons." "How quickly can you deploy it?" "Global coverage. About 20 hours if every major nation contributes their power grid." Diane nodded. "Do it. And everyone else, prepare for protocol defiance. It's time to show the Council that humanity won't go quietly." "Protocol defiance is now active," Diane Powell announced to the UERI team. The room was silent as everyone understood what this meant. Earth would not surrender. Around the world, a careful dance began. Government representatives smiled in public meetings with council members, while military forces quietly moved into position. The plan required perfect timing and secrecy. Colonel Blackwood supervised as special EMP devices were transported to key locations around the globe. Dr. Reeves had designed them to disable council technology without affecting Earth's systems. Each device must be precisely synchronized, he told his officers. We'll only get one chance at this. At the United Nations, Jack Miller led a team that kept council representatives busy with endless questions about membership terms. We're just trying to understand all the implications, Jack explained to an increasingly impatient Ambassador Zixler. Our legal experts have a few hundred more questions about Section 47. Zixler's large eyes narrowed. These delays are unnecessary. The terms are standard for all new members. Of course, Jack smiled pleasantly. But you understand, this is our first time joining a galactic organization. We want to be thorough. Meanwhile, Dr. Reeves worked with power companies worldwide to divert energy to her shield system. Massive generators hummed as they charged the network of devices placed strategically around the planet. Shield capacity at 64% and rising, she reported to Diane. We need at least 90% for full coverage. How much longer? Diane asked. 5 hours minimum, maybe 6. Diane checked the time. The deadline is in 7 hours. It's going to be close. In space, Captain Harrington's team used small, stealthy craft to approach the Council's orbital weapons. Each team member carried devices designed to sabotage the alien technology. Move silently, work quickly, Steve instructed his team. If even one of us is detected, they might activate these weapons early. As the deadline drew closer, Ambassador Zixler demanded to address all world leaders simultaneously. The Council grows concerned by Earth's hesitation, Zixler announced when the leaders assembled. We require your answer within 3 hours, not the 7 originally granted. The President of the United States spoke for Earth. We're still reviewing the terms. These things take time. Your time has run out, Zixler said coldly. The Council's patience is not unlimited. As the meeting ended, Jack Miller approached Zixler with a stack of papers. Ambassador, our legal team has prepared some counter-proposals to certain clauses. Perhaps you could review them. Counter-proposals. Zixler's voice rose slightly. The terms are not negotiable. I understand, Jack said smoothly. But it would help our leaders make their decision if you could at least consider these minor adjustments. Zixler reluctantly took the papers. It was exactly what Jack wanted. More delay, more distraction. Back at UERI headquarters, Amanda Wright monitored communications between the Council ship and the weapons on the moon. They're getting suspicious, she warned. They've ordered a status check on all systems. Captain Harrington, status. Colonel Blackwood asked over the secure line. 80% of weapons neutralized, came Steve's reply. Need more time. Dr. Reeves. Shield at 82%. Not enough yet. Diane Powell made the hardest decision of her life. We need to deliver our answer in person at the UN. The original plan was to wait until our defenses were fully ready, but we're out of time. It's too risky, Colonel Blackwood argued. We have no choice, Diane said firmly. I'll deliver our response myself. We need to keep them focused on the ceremony while our teams finish their work. Within the hour, Diane Powell prepared to address the Galactic Council with humanity's official response. She wore a small device under her clothing that would protect her from immediate harm. Remember, Jack Miller told her before she entered the assembly hall. Keep them talking as long as possible. Diane nodded, her face calm despite the fear she felt inside. The future of human civilization rested on what would happen in the next hour. She walked toward the podium, as Ambassador Zixler and the Council delegation watched with cold, calculating eyes. The United Nations Hall was packed with people. World leaders sat in the front rows. Behind them were diplomats, military officers, and reporters. Ambassador Zixlor and 6 other alien representatives sat on a raised platform, looking down at the humans with an air of superiority. Diane Powell walked slowly to the podium. She wore a simple blue suit, her gray hair pulled back neatly. She looked small compared to the aliens, but her eyes were determined. Distinguished representatives of the Galactic Council, she began, on behalf of humanity, I thank you for your invitation to join your federation. Zixlor nodded slightly, his large eyes unblinking. We have carefully reviewed your terms, Diane continued. Our experts have studied every detail of the membership agreement. She paused, glancing at her watch. She needed to keep talking for at least 10 more minutes. Captain Harrington needed time to finish disabling the weapons. Dr. Reeves needed time to complete the shield. Earth has a long history of international cooperation, Diane said. From our United Nations to our global trade agreements, we understand the value of working together. As she spoke, Jack Miller watched the aliens carefully. The smallest one, with green skin, kept looking nervously at Zixlor. The tallest alien seemed impatient, its 4 arms twitching slightly. Through her earpiece, Diane heard updates. Shield at 86%, came Dr. Reeves' voice. 92% of weapons neutralized, reported Captain Harrington. She needed more time. Before we give our answer, Diane said, I would like to ask a few final questions about the resource sharing mentioned in Section 27. Ambassador Zixlor leaned forward. Administrator Powell, enough delays. The Council requires your answer now. Does Earth accept membership, yes or no? In the UERI Command Center, Colonel Blackwood watched the live feed. Shield status, 89%, Dr. Reeves replied. Not ideal, but it might hold. Weapons status. Captain Harrington reports 96% neutralized. 4 orbital platforms still active. Blackwood took a deep breath. It will have to be enough. Give Powell the go-ahead. Back at the UN, Diane received the message. It was time. She straightened her shoulders and looked directly at Zixlor. The people of Earth have considered your invitation carefully, she said clearly. Our answer is no. The single word echoed through the silent hall. For a moment, Ambassador Zixlor didn't move. Then his smooth diplomatic mask cracked. His face twisted with rage. No. He spat the word. You dare to refuse the Council. The other aliens reacted with shock. The green one looked terrified. The tall one stood up suddenly. You have made a fatal mistake, Zixlor hissed. Earth will be harvested regardless of your consent. He pressed a device on his wrist. Activate all weapons. Begin the cleansing protocol. Nothing happened. Zixlor pressed the device again, harder this time. Activate all weapons now. Still nothing. The alien's face changed from anger to confusion, then to fear. What have you done? He demanded. Diane smiled slightly. We made preparations. Zixlor turned to the other council members. Call the ship. Order immediate bombardment. The tall alien tried to communicate with the asterisk Harmonious Unity asterisk, but received no response. Our systems are not responding, it reported, its voice high with panic. In space, Captain Harrington's team had finished their work. The alien weapons were now useless chunks of metal. On Earth, Colonel Blackwood activated the EMP devices, disabling all Council technology within range. Zixlor lunged toward Diane, his clawed hand reaching for her throat. Before he could touch her, security officers tackled him to the ground. The other aliens were quickly surrounded. This is impossible, Zixlor snarled. You are primitives. You cannot defeat Council technology. And yet we did, Diane replied calmly. Suddenly, the building shook. A deep rumbling sound filled the air. What was that? Jack Miller asked. Colonel Blackwood's voice came through their earpieces. The Council ship is moving. They're calling for reinforcements. Dr. Reeves' voice followed. Shield at 94%. Activating now. Outside, a faint blue glow spread across the sky as Earth's new protective shield came to life. Diane looked down at the restrained sixth floor. It seems the real test is just beginning. 3 days after Earth's refusal, the sky filled with council ships. They surrounded the planet, their weapons pointed at Earth's cities. Ambassador Zixlor and the other council representatives had been detained in a secure facility, unable to contact their fleet. In the UERI command center, Diane Powell watched the screens showing dozens of alien vessels. "Dr. Reeves, how is the shield holding?" she asked. "At full power now," Olivia replied. "They fired 3 times, but the shield absorbed the energy. Each attack actually makes our shield stronger." Colonel Blackwood pointed to a different screen. "They're trying to find gaps, testing different weapons. So far, nothing has broken through." The biggest concern was how long they could maintain the shield. Earth's power grid was straining under the enormous energy requirements. Meanwhile, Amanda Wright had been working on a different approach. Using the data they had stolen from the Council database, she had created a message. "I can broadcast this to all Council ships and their home worlds," she explained to Diane. "It contains proof of what the Council has done to other planets, including testimony from the green alien who helped us." "The junior aide?" Jack Miller asked. Amanda nodded. "His name is Kelnar. His entire species was enslaved. He's been gathering evidence for years, waiting for someone to help him expose the truth." Diane considered this. "If we broadcast this, what happens?" "According to Kelnar, many council races don't know the truth. They're told that member planets are treated fairly. If they learn they've been part of an empire built on suffering, it could tear the council apart from within." Jack finished. Diane made her decision. "Do it." Amanda began the broadcast. Video and data files streamed from Earth to every council ship and beyond, to every world in their federation. The evidence was undeniable. Planets stripped of resources, populations enslaved, species wiped out when they resisted. The effect was immediate. On several council ships, fighting broke out between those loyal to the leadership and those horrified by what they had participated in. "Look." Colonel Blackwood pointed to the screens. 3 council ships had turned their weapons away from Earth and were firing on other council vessels. Through Kelnar, they established contact with the rebellious ships. The Tellurians and Proxima species had always suspected the Council's true nature. Now they had proof, and they were fighting back. Captain Steve Harrington led a mission to the nearest Council ship that had joined their side. Using Kelnar as a translator, they formed an alliance with the rebels. "There are other species who will join us," the Tellurian captain told them. "Together, we can end the Council's reign of terror." Within a week, the Council fleet had broken apart. Half the ships had retreated, while others openly rebelled. The Harmonious Unity flooded the solar system, carrying the highest-ranking Council members. On Earth, Dr. Reeves worked with alien scientists to develop technology that could restore planets damaged by Council exploitation. Colonel Blackwood led joint human-alien forces to liberate enslaved populations on nearby worlds. 6 months later, Diane Powell stood before a new assembly. Representatives from 22 species, including humans, gathered to form a different kind of galactic organization. "The Free Galactic Federation will be built on real cooperation," she announced. "No species will rule over others. No world will be exploited for its resources. We will face the challenges of the universe together, as equals." The mysterious directors who had controlled the Council from the shadows were still out there somewhere, but they now faced something they had never encountered before: a true alliance of free worlds, inspired by humanity's defiance. Jack Miller stood beside Lisa Franklin as they watched the ceremony. "All this because of one word," Lisa said quietly. Jack nodded. "Sometimes that's all it takes. One word at the right moment." "No," Lisa repeated with a smile. The simple word that had changed the course of galactic history now hung in the main hall of the new Federation headquarters. Below it was a small plaque that read, "From Earth with determination. When Diane Powell concluded the first assembly of the Free Galactic Federation, she did so with a single powerful word that echoed humanity's new place in the stars: together.